But thank you everyone for coming out tonight. It has been yet another classic day. I don't think it would be Fourth Friday if I didn't talk about the weather and how happy we are to have people here. My name is Shirley Verico. I know we have a lot of new folks here because David has a really great group of friends. So my name is Shirley Verico. I am the curator and director of visual art here at Buffalo Art Studio. And for those of you who are new to us, we are a not-for-profit 20,000 square foot art center. And I'm going to really encourage everyone tonight to take the time to read and potentially take home, or at least read and put back, the catalog for tonight's event. David Buck is a longtime friend of the organization. His artistic journey, his personal history of the last 20 years is very intertwined with the organization. And I'm not going to run through it all myself tonight, but the catalog does a great job. So we are a not-for-profit art center here. We have a three-pronged mission: safe and affordable studio space for working artists. Dave Buck is one of those working artists. Many of the other working artists are here. You are all welcome to go into the studios. It is warm. We do have the doors mostly closed to try and keep the reception area cooler, but you are welcome to go back there. Those studios are always open. If you come anytime, you can go in there. We also have a wonderful education program for students and for youth and adults, and that is available online. You can see what we have to offer. And we have a commitment to exhibiting contemporary artists. Dave falls into that category as well. And Dave did take classes here as a student with, raise your hand, Rob Lynch. And I do want to mention, before I thank all of our generous funders, this is a retrospective. We don't do this very often, maybe once every 18 months or so. And in Dave's case, many of the artworks were borrowed from institutions or individuals. And you're going to see in these front two galleries, there are green dots. There's only 4 pieces, I think, that are for sale. Many of the pieces are in private collections, and those are listed. We do have a pop-up in the community space. Those pieces are for sale, except for the ones with the red dot, because they already sold. And you can find me, Lauren McLaughlin, raise your hand. Sydney O'Shea, she's just a hand in the crowd. She's got a pink dress on. We also have Adelina in an orange dress. And then, of course, our fearless leader, Elma Correo, who's probably harassing people to get him into the crowd, into the room. So, yes, thank you all for coming out tonight. We are able to be free and open to the public because of our generous supporters. This is M&T Bank Fourth Friday. They sponsor so many of the cultural organizations here in Western New York. Yay for M&T Bank. I don't think at this moment when federal funding is being cut, we can overstate what it means to have a local foundation so committed to the creative and the cultural community. So M&T Bank sponsors Fourth Friday. We thank them. I am going to put on the reading glasses and make sure I don't forget anybody else. We want to thank the Cameron and Jane Baird Foundation, Community Foundation of Greater Buffalo, Erie County Cultural Funds, Ovation Stands for the Arts, the Andy Warhol Foundation for Visual Arts, and the New York State Council for the Arts with the support of Governor Kathy Hochul. We also have a lot of additional support by Marketing Tech, our neighbor here in the building, and perhaps our biggest supporter, which is Tri-Main Management itself. As you've probably noticed, this is an enormous building, 600,000 square feet. Just 3 months ago, they let Buffalo Art Studio take over the building and fill it with, I believe it was 179 artists and performing acts. 4,000 people, many of whom are here. And, you know, Trimania was no small feat, but they stand next to us, Tri-Main Management. They stand behind us every day. They try and fix our air conditioning. They deal with the leaks. They are really a tremendous support. We wouldn't be here without them. And they do support us financially as well. So we want to give a big round of applause to Tri-Main Management. Okay, and now I'm done with the obligatory statements. So Dave Buck, I sit in the front gallery. Those of you that come to visit, I greet the folks that come in. And Dave Buck, his studio is about 8 feet from where I sit every day. So we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the last 11 years, and we started talking about this project about 15 months ago. And like so many of the projects here, it evolves over time. And, then comes the real push, which is the last sort of 20 hours of standing next to each other and hanging the work. And that was with the help of folks like Kathy Sharon, another artist in our community, hanging the labels, lighting the show. James, one of our interns, thank you so much. And then you turn around and you stand back and you open the door. So thank you all for coming in to honor our dear friend, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Dave Buck.
I'd like to ask people to move in a little more. I can't see everybody back there, so could you guys move forward a little bit?
There you go.
Fit a few more folks in this room. So I'd like to welcome everybody to Kathy Sharon's birthday party. She's my partner in crime here, my favorite, as she knows. The short story of my story is I met a tornado named Joanna Angie 20 years ago, and here I am. That's the short version. I kind of got roped in, as many of us have, into the tornado, the swirl that is Buffalo Art Studio, and I realized what a cool organization it was. I served on the board for a few years, and then I kind of had the temerity to take a class. And it was with Rob Lynch, my buddy, and we just figured out that was 21 years ago. Amazing. So I've been a quote-unquote artist ever since, but coming from the design and advertising world, that's a big leap to make. I don't know if anyone's tried it, but I had zero confidence, going into that. I knew I had some skills, but I never called myself an artist. I really didn't have anything to say, per se. So I just tried one thing and tried something else, and I got so much encouragement here that I was thinking about what to say. I realized that this is as much of a demonstration of what Buffalo Art Studio can, here we go, do to one life, as it is a exhibition of one artist, right? That's the place is amazing. So every painting you see in all 4 rooms, because you can pop in my studio, which is next to the gift shop, has also been hung with work. All of it was done here. Every painting I've done, and I've done about 370 so far, have all been done here. So my entire painting career is wrapped up in Buffalo Art Studio. And I don't think I ever would have gotten very far just, painting in my basement once in a while. I want to thank all the current Buffalo Art Studio people. It's a great group of people under Alma's leadership. Shirley, especially because this project has really brought us closer, and it was a true collaboration. It's hard to narrow it down and plan a story and figure out how it should go, and I needed a lot of help, and I think we worked really well together. And I gotta mention Sid and Lauren, my buddies in the office. You're not my co-workers, because it's kind of a weird business. I was in a very collaborative business before, and it was always a lot of fun, a lot of energy. And then I start doing this, where you go somewhere and you close the door, and it's just you. And it's like so different. And I think having these great ladies around has helped me a lot to have a little bit of social aspect to the job, as it were. The early days here were like super intimidating. AJ's here somewhere. AJ Freeze, Annie Hoover, the guy whose studio I took over, Bill Cooper, and a slew of other like really top-notch artists. It was intimidating, like I said, I was coming in, and I had a lot to learn. And those guys didn't help because they were so good, that didn't help my confidence at all. So thanks for that. Like the other day, I was having a moment, like the show is done. I was like literally standing there, like, well, that's that. I'm standing alone, feeling pretty good about myself. And then Julia Bottoms walked by with this like 8-foot masterpiece, and I was like, well, I'm never going to do that. So, you know, keeps it real. Sorry for the cards, but I would have been nervous otherwise. So for a long time, I was doing creative assignments for other people, including the great Nancy Brock, who's sitting here, my favorite client of all time. And so, you know, one day you just wake up and you're like, well, what would it be like if I just did something for myself? You know, like done all this client work for all those years. And the answer is, you know, this. This is what happens, you know? So this is what I came out with. And I have to say, I really didn't have a plan, which actually was my conscious plan. I didn't want a lot of influence from my teachers. You know, Rob was great because he kind of unlocked me and freed me up and got me going. And he actually once took the brush out of my hand because I was so paralyzed. I was like, and he's like, and he kept walking, and I was like, aghast. I was like, what the hell, man? I was pissed. Well, that never happened again, but I got going, you know? And so, you know, thanks for that, buddy. Yeah. So, left alone to my own devices is kind of half instinct and half my, like, kind of shoddy education I had. So I didn't have a plan, and I still don't. Like, I just come in and I go by whim. That's like big picture, but it's also the paintings themselves. You know, I never do demos. I never teach. I don't do any public, these hall walls things. You know, like, no. I have to be in my room, and I get all weirded out. And it's a terrible process. So I wouldn't teach it to anybody. I just try to, you know, let it flow, and I get into some kind of state of mind where I'm the passenger. That's how I like to think of it. Like, I'm not really driving. I'm just along for the ride. I'm some ether state. And that's when it really, the paintings just like fly out of you. It's crazy. My rules are, you know, do something new, keep it simple, be brave, use a big brush. That's my golden rule. Never get too noodly, and then leave it before you wreck it. So there's a lot of, Nathan Metzger once said to me, really good painter, you've got a lot of great half-done paintings. And at first, of course, I was insulted, because I'm always insulted. But I was like, you know, fair, that's fair. It's, for most people, that would be true. But for me, they're done. I'm not going to talk a lot about my family because I think I've given everybody a lot of family history that they didn't ask for, if you read the captions and look at the paintings. But I think it was both a physical and emotional connection I had to make that my primary content. I really liked looking at the old photos and the deckled edges and the little black and whites from the 30s and my mother's writing, and I wound up with all of it as things were consolidated from different houses and all of that. And, you know, faded stuff from the 70s and slides with a Kodak imprint and all of that. I just love the media itself. And, you know, but there's also obviously a built-in emotional connection. So anything I picked from any era, I'm automatically connected to, and I didn't have to think about what to paint next. I just kept going. And every time I don't know what to do next, I just go back to the well. I will say, you know, and I see Steve here. I think, nice to see you. Somebody from Rochester came. And of course, my family here. I did have a pretty great family. It was an old house on the edge of town with a kind of a creative atmosphere, and I was the youngest of 5 siblings by a lot. And so I had all these great influences, and my brothers were in the arts, and I was just around a lot of cool stuff all the time. And I just soaked it up, you know, and it stays with you all your life. And, you know, we're celebrating here, I think, largely small town life. Ontario, New York. Some of my buddies are here from Ontario made the trip. That's really nice of you. And I guess lastly, I want to say this process of putting the show together was kind of amazing because I didn't think about this when I started out. But what happened was I reconnected with all kinds of people that some of them I knew really well, and I see the paintings at their house. Nancy tells me she has the most. She has 8 of my paintings. I'm like, love what you've done with the place. It's great. But then other people I barely knew or didn't know at all, and I went to their houses and I had a glass of wine and we talked about things and I saw their art collection and it just strengthened these bonds, and I found out certain people have a really strong attachment to these paintings, and it hits you right in the heart and you're like, oh, I didn't know it, but I guess that's why I'm doing this, like it means something to people and it's really heavy, and it was really great. And so for all those people that I inconvenienced by taking these paintings off your wall and unframing them and everything else, they're all safe, all your stuff's safe. It was really a great experience, and that turned out to be kind of the extra bonus. So I guess that's all I have to say. If anyone has a question too, I could answer.
When is your show at the Graces?
Yes. So Grace Maibam is here somewhere handing out postcards. I was honored to have an invitation to show at her gallery, which is a 3rd generation beautiful little gallery in East Aurora. October 17th is the opening, and unlike the show, there will be lots for sale. It's all new work, and I'm working diligently towards that opening October 17th.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you all for coming out. If you have questions, if you want to talk to the artist, if you have questions about the organization or to purchase something, you can talk to me. This is a party for Dave Buck, so let the party keep on rolling. Thank you, M&T Bank. Thank you all.